Everyone thinks they know the double-barrel shotgun, the sheriff's scattergun, the outlaw's sawed-off, the thunder that ruled the Wild West. 2 barrels, 2 shots, endless power. But behind the smoke and stories lies a weapon far more practical and far more misunderstood. Hollywood turned it into an icon. Frontier legends turned it into a monster. Was it really the ultimate close-range killer? Did every cowboy have one under the bar? And could a single blast really send a man flying across the room? Welcome to Lead and Legacy. Today we're tearing through the 10 biggest myths about the double-barrel shotgun. From physics-breaking fiction to truths buried under a century of gunpowder and myth. Before we begin, hit subscribe, share, and saddle up for some honest frontier history. Number 10, the knockback myth. It could throw a man through a wall. The most famous shotgun illusion begins with a window and a scream. A gun fires, a man flies backward through the glass, and dust fills the air. It's the ultimate Western cliché, and it's pure fiction. If a shotgun blast could throw a grown man several feet, the same force would launch the shooter in the opposite direction. Physics doesn't play favorites. In truth, the recoil of a 12 gauge is sharp but survivable. A bruise, not a body fling. A real hit from buckshot kills by penetration, not by shove. Stage performers in the late 1800s dramatized reactions for crowds, and early Hollywood directors copied them for drama. The myth stuck because it looked powerful. On the frontier, nobody cared about flying bodies. They cared about surviving the next 10 feet. The shotgun didn't throw people through saloon windows. It ended fights before they started. Number 9, the sawed-off fantasy. Every outlaw carried one. Short, brutal, and cinematic, the sawed-off shotgun became the outlaw's signature. Every dime novel villain supposedly hid one under his duster, ready to blow the doors off a saloon. The reality was far less dramatic. Most shotguns on the frontier weren't chopped short at all. Cutting barrels ruined accuracy and reduced velocity. A full-length 30-inch double could drop a target at 40 yards. A sawed-off lost power after 15. Only a handful of bandits and barkeeps used them. Men who needed intimidation more than distance. They were loud, smoky, and impossible to conceal cleanly. So why did the legend last? Because pulp writers loved the image. A sawed-off looked wicked. It photographed well and symbolized danger. In truth, the double barrel was a rancher's tool, not an outlaw's toy. The short barrels came later, built for movies, not for missions. Number 8, you don't need to aim. The spray and pray myth. Every Western fan has seen it. A hero fires from the hip, and the entire room collapses. No aiming, no thinking, just thunder. That's the fantasy. The truth is math. At 10 yards, a shotgun's pattern spreads roughly the size of a dinner plate. Miss by 2 feet and you miss completely. Real frontiersmen knew it. They practiced point shooting, studied the bead sight, and learned to adjust for choke and load. Buckshot stayed tight. Birdshot scattered faster, but lost power quickly. Without aim, even a 10 gauge could waste both barrels. The just point and fire myth was born in Hollywood, where clouds of smoke looked cooler than precision. On the trail, accuracy mattered. A single wasted shot could mean the difference between scaring off a rustler and becoming one more story told around a campfire. Number 7, the 12 gauge myth. All shotguns were the same. Say shotgun today, and people picture a 12 gauge. But the Old West was a carnival of calibers. You could find massive 10 gauges for stage guards, smaller 16s for hunters, even lightweight 20s for travelers or women. Some guns fired homemade paper shells, others used hand-rolled black powder cartridges. Frontier supply wasn't predictable. A cowboy bought whatever gauge he could find ammo for. The 10 gauge ruled Wells Fargo wagons because its heavier load hit harder up close. Farmers used 16 gauges to hunt prairie chickens. The universal 12 gauge myth formed later when manufacturing standardized ammo in the 20th century. Hollywood, needing consistency, filmed every double barrel as the same. In truth, the West ran on improvisation, a patchwork of gauges and grit, not one perfect pattern. Number 6, the cost myth. Everyone owned one. Every saloon wall in Hollywood has a shotgun hanging behind the counter. Every ranch hand supposedly owned one. But in 1875, a decent double barrel cost $35 to $50. 2 months' wages for a cowboy earning $30 a month. That made it a luxury, not a staple. Many frontier families owned a single firearm, often a battered rifle or single-shot musket left over from the Civil War. Some used flintlocks handed down from fathers and grandfathers. When someone finally bought a double barrel, it was usually the household's prized possession, cleaned nightly and loaned carefully. The image of every cowboy casually toting a shiny 12-gauge, pure post-frontier marketing. By 1900, catalogs like Sears sold cheap knockoffs, and the myth of universal ownership was born. In the true frontier years, shotguns were rare, revered, and expensive, not background furniture. Number 5, the quick reload illusion. Cinematic reloads look effortless. Fire both barrels, snap open, 2 shells slide in, click shut, back in the fight. That's editing, not history. In the real West, reloading was slow, sweaty work. Black powder fouled chambers, shells stuck, and heat warped brass. Spent casings had to be pried out with a knife or fingernail. A good reload could take 10 seconds. Under fire, that's eternity. That's why experienced shooters treated the shotgun like a hammer, not a drum. You fired once, maybe twice, and switched to a revolver or took cover to reload. The endless reload myth came from trick shooters in the 1920s, performing for crowds with oiled guns and modern ammo. Frontier men knew better. 2 blasts were all you got. After that, luck and courage had to reload for you. Number 4, the long-range myth. It could kill from a mile away. A classic Hollywood gunfight shows a man firing a shotgun across a street or across town and dropping his enemy instantly. Beautiful cinematography, terrible ballistics. A shotgun loaded with buckshot was deadly within 30 to 40 yards. Beyond that, pellets scattered and lost energy too quickly. Even slugs couldn't compete with rifles. Buffalo hunters used sharps and rolling blocks for a reason. Those rifles hit targets at 500 yards. A shotgun? At 100 yards, it might not even penetrate a coat. Its power was short, savage, and situational. That's why stage guards carried them. Ambush range, not dueling distance. Hollywood made it thunder across the prairie because audiences love spectacle. In truth, the double barrel ruled hallways and wagons, not horizons. It was the gun of 10 feet, not 10 fields. Number 3, the lawman's badge gun. Movies love the image of a sheriff standing behind a desk, double barrel in hand, ready to restore order. Some did carry them, Bat Masterson, occasionally Wyatt Earp, but not as daily companions. A shotgun was heavy, awkward, and hard to holster. Most lawmen preferred a revolver. Faster to draw, easier to carry. The double barrel was a situational tool used for guarding prisoners, defending doorways, or stopping riots. Wells Fargo guards carried them during high-risk routes, giving birth to the phrase riding shotgun. But even that wasn't every route, every day. The image stuck because it symbolized authority, a weapon that spoke louder than words. In reality, it was the gun of necessity, not routine, pulled only when things went truly bad. Number 2, Hollywood got it right. Or did it? When the frontier faded, film resurrected it and got nearly everything wrong. By the 1930s, prop masters were using modern doubles with smokeless powder and steel barrels, decades removed from black powder originals. The smoke, sound, and recoil were pure fabrication. Real 1870s shotguns barked with dull thuds and clouds of white haze that lingered in the air. But Hollywood needed clean sound and drama, not historical detail. They shortened barrels, exaggerated power, and choreographed perfect knockback shots. Over time, those screen versions became memory. Ask someone today what a Western shotgun looked like, and they'll describe a movie prop, not a museum piece. Cinema didn't just entertain, it rewrote the West, replacing fact with flair one frame at a time. Number 1, the king of the frontier, it ruled the West. Here's the grand myth, that the double barrel was the weapon of the Wild West. The most feared, the most respected, the one that tamed the frontier. It wasn't. The shotgun shared its world with rifles, revolvers, and carbines. Each had its place. Rifles fed families, revolvers settled disputes, and shotguns guarded wagons and doors. The double barrel earned respect not because it ruled, but because it worked. Simple, rugged, devastating up close. Its legend grew later, amplified by pulp writers, advertisers, and filmmakers who loved the image of twin barrels glowing in the sunlight. No single gun won the West, but this one conquered imagination. What it ruled wasn't territory, it ruled time, surviving every myth we've built around its thunder. And there you have it, 10 myths that forged the double-barrel shotgun's legend. It wasn't the gun that won the West, but it was the one that never left it, echoing through stories, screens, and campfire tales long after the frontier was gone. For the people who carried it, the shotgun was never about glory, it was about survival. 2 shots, 1 heartbeat, no second chances. Every scratch on the steel told a story of protection, fear, and grit. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth behind this timeless weapon, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Lead and Legacy, where every story fires straight, every myth meets its match, and history finally gets the trigger time it deserves.